Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at?
I think Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem?
Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news?
It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Touch Me Tuesdays on the Veritas Road, where we talk about the things that touched me this week, and hopefully we can touch you too. What up, Nephilim Hunter, Mad Hatter? Good to see you folks in the house, or whatever the fuck people say. I don't know. So big thanks also to Nephilim Hunter, our first Patreon subscriber. Thank you, sir. Also, thank you for all the links you've been sending us. Those have been great. Some announcements as we get started. John, make sure I don't forget anything, please. We'll be going live Saturday night. Going to be talking about germ theory and terrain theory, and kind of the role I and maybe John as well think that's played in the world and some of the shit that's been going on the past few years. Also, coming up on January 23rd, we've got the Biblical Hitmen at 7 p.m. that evening, right, John? Is that right? 7 p.m., January 23rd. So the Biblical Hitmen. So that should be a good time. And then we've got our Patreon going. We've got our early bird special up right now. It's $2 currently. That will change starting March 1st. We're going to have this early bird special up through February. So sign up now while you can. That's you're going to get access to a bunch of shit. I've got to remember what all that is. We're going to have bonus EPs. I think we're going to try to do at least one a month. You're going to get uncensored EPs. A whole mess of other stuff coming with that. I think we'll send out sticker packs. What else, John? What am I missing here, bud?
A couple of... I think you have.
I mentioned bonus EPs.
Yeah, a private live stream for the two of from you.
Oh yeah, you'll be getting that. Yeah, those are coming. Those are coming.
Eventually, so one other thing, we are going to start. We have some watch parties planned. The first one will be after Biblical Hitman episode.
That's right.
And eventually, those will go private to Patreon. Here in a few months. They'll start just on Rumble and Twitter. Our goal is to start doing going through some more modern kind of conspiracy centric shows and movies. Looking for like Revelation of Method and, whole mess of good shit to talk about. Yeah, that'll be fun. First one, what did we say? We were doing the Truman Show. I think
we're going to do the Truman Show, but if anybody has any ideas, feel free to DM us.
Yep. You're more than welcome to. So those will eventually go Patreon exclusive.
Not trying to get any copyright strikes.
Yeah. And we had
missing anything else? We've got some other merch ideas coming, but my 3D printer's down. So there's 3D printed shit coming, but I'm working on fixing that. So that's on its way, just unknown as to when. So, anything else, John? Anything we're missing before we get into the good stuff?
Probably. I will continue to refresh myself and remind people as time goes along.
All right. Fair enough. Everybody loves stickers. I know, right? All right. So tonight, first thing on the docket, we've got our friend of the show. Can I say the J word on here? Israeli. Can I say that? Israeli billionaire Shlomo Kramer has come out. Is it Kramer? I can't remember, isn't it? Shlomo. Yeah, it is Shlomo Kramer. Came out and had some things to say about free speech this past week that have gotten some people riled up. Let's take a look at this video real quick.
To limit the First Amendment in order to protect it. And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms. all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Okay, so I did a little bit of looking into this tiny hat of a juice box. Thank you, Nephilim Hunter. It's a good call. And this, I think the nice word is sumbitch, owns at least 3 massive tech companies. He's a billionaire that doesn't even have U.S. citizenship. So why the hell he's on a news show talking about the First Amendment? I'm really not sure, because he's not even, I guess, a part of this, the supposed country, if that's something you even care about. But one of the things that I think is just absolutely insane is this concept, and I see it a lot, especially growing up in the South in like right-wing politics, is these people who have this idea that the Constitution and the amendments somehow afford you the right to do anything. A piece of paper doesn't afford you the right to do jack shit. And that's in those documents even, and whether those are good or bad, that's a whole nother discussion to have. But like the whole idea of like rights being imbued by the creator is right there in black and white ink. And so why people, want to come out and say, well, you have the Constitution there to protect you. Thank heavens, we don't have to worry because we have these documents that protect us from any kind of government overreach. And it's all a load of bullshit. The document doesn't do a thing. You're a human being that should behave like a human being. Who gives a shit about the document? But how weird is it that this guy who's not even from the States is saying, oh, by the way, to protect your right to free speech, we just need to limit it a little bit. Just a little bit. We just hold down with all the free speech stuff. Just calm it down so that we can protect it. I can't think of a more like Orwellian doublethink way to try to push that concept into people's minds, the idea of controlled speech, than saying to protect it, we need to limit it. That is the most obvious. I mean, can you make that any more obvious? You have any thoughts on that, John?
Yeah. So I have said a lot on this show, and other people are out there kind of starting to notice this as well, is that the whole Israel noticing and the J noticing is starting to ramp up, and it's getting very obvious. And like, no shit, it's getting very obvious. It's like,
right.
You want bad PR and you want people to like notice everything Israel's doing, just send a guy out there in an Israeli accent and talk about how much he hates the First Amendment and hates free speech. It's like, no shit, you're gonna get a reaction out of people. It's like, this is so like, it's so blatantly obvious that like Israel's starting to do this on purpose.
Yeah, it seems like
I'm not sure why, but like they are starting to do this on purpose. It's like they are starting to get so blatantly retarded and so blatantly, corrupt, whatever word you want to use, and they're doing it on purpose. And it just makes you wonder what the actual reason for it is, because it's like, people aren't this retarded. They're just not. And it's like anybody with an actual rational brain in like Israeli government would have got that guy on the phone. It's like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. If they're actually trying to like subvert in the way that like Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson are actually saying, is like, there's probably a bigger play going on now.
Yeah. Completely agree.
That the people in now mainstream media, old podcast or old what's the word I'm looking for?
Like legacy media type?
No. Like the new mainstream media, who people think are
like the old guard
takers.
Podcasters,
yeah,
like Rogan and those people
who are like masquerading as risk takers are now just taking low hanging fruit, and this is just more
Nick Fuentes.
Fruit.
Yeah. I think you make an excellent point, and just to speculate a little bit on why. I mean, it does seem like they've been ramping up the J noticing, if you will, for a little while, and I wonder, because it seems like they've kind of established the fact that they can kind of push mass consciousness where they want it to for people who aren't, awake to the, what's really going on. And so my thought is, are they trying to push people a direction so that we can, kind of aggravate, I don't know if that's the right word, inflame people's attitudes towards the blue starred country in an effort to then respond to it by cracking down on it. What's the problem solution reaction type
Hegelian
shit?
dialectic.
Hegelian dialectic type shit. Yeah, that's kind of what it seems to me. Is let's make this super obvious, put it out in front of people's faces. Let's inflame the populace, and then we'll come in and solve the damn problem by cracking down on this stuff. That doesn't seem like it. I mean, it seems like a rational course of action to me if I were the New World Order.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's like there's got to be something. It's just it can't be. I don't think people are getting smarter. Like that's the thing. Like I don't think it's like the masses are just getting so much smarter to where they're just starting to notice it more.
Yeah.
I think it's they're orchestrating it and like they're just slowly making it a lot more obvious. Into your point of like why is like, dude, like. It kind of almost seems like maybe they're trying to ramp up some type of artificial, J persecution or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, let's inflame the populace so that we can attack the populace.
I see where you're going, and I don't know, man. It's just it bothers me, and it makes me very like hesitant to like how much of this should I really be engaging in if they're trying to get me to engage in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent point. I don't know, and I mean, I feel like we talk about this shit every week because it's out there. Hell, I don't know if we need to take a planned break from the the juicing, if you will.
That's a good term. I mean,
do a juice cleanse.
Yeah, I mean, and that's hard because it's like it is. For content purposes, it's there, and like I think it's important to an extent to talk about it, but it's more so as like get people to understand what's actually going on here.
Yeah,
is like the Candace Owens, the Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes of the world. They're not brilliant people.
No,
they're not right. They're picking an apple and that's 3 feet off the ground. And for Nick Fuentes, I mean, maybe for Nick Fuentes that's hard. He's very short, but
true.
Like they're not really working all that hard to kind of present this information because it's just so blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know exactly what to do about it and what to do with it.
Me either. And I don't know. My attention keeps getting drawn to it every week because it's all out there, and it makes me wonder, like
that's the problem. It's freaking effective.
How much of a damn child am I, just getting led around by the fucking nose? Having my attention directed where they want it to, and that's what makes me nervous.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to grab people's attention when you have fucking Mike Huckabee jamming on an out-of-tune guitar while some retard just absolutely bastardizes Leonard Skinner.
Sweet home Jerusalem.
It's very easy to get people riled up about that. Yeah. It's just like they're not trying. So why should I be? If they're not trying, why should I give them any attention? It's kind of my mentality at this point.
That's a good point.
So I don't know.
Point. Yeah, no, you're right. And in that spirit, let's move the fuck on. So speaking of nothing related to Jerusalem, let's talk a little bit about Donald Trump. So obviously there's been a lot of that was insane.
Shit out of me.
It did me too. There was all the talk about how like Donald Trump's going to be the last president. Donald Trump's going to be an emperor. America is Rome type shit. What is with his obsession with Greenland? I don't have an answer for this. I'm just curious what the people think. Like, what the hell is with his obsession with Greenland? Here is another video of him talking about how much we need Greenland.
How recent is this?
Need
Pretty
Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
Interesting.
Dude seems to be strangely after. I don't know why he has such a hard-on for Greenland. It seems strange to me. And there is all this obsession with, like, the North Pole. Greenland is relatively close to the North Pole. I don't know if that's part of it. Some kind of, like, strategic location to be able to like monitor activity up there because there's some weird shit going on at the North Pole, right?
Yeah.
Or what? But dude's obsessed with it.
Yeah, I think the proximity to the North Pole is probably the main driving factor as to why U.S. interests want to be there, because it's never what they tell you, and we'll probably talk about some of the Venezuela bullshit tonight. It's never what they tell you.
No.
And it's like if you start actually, trying to figure out what the hell is actually in the North Pole, and what that place actually is, it'll make you question a little bit as to why.
Yeah, I don't like to
people are so
overuse the term rabbit hole, but that's a rabbit hole.
It is a massive
figuring out what's going on in the North Pole.
And it's like, so yeah, I don't know. That would be my best guess, though.
That's fair. To me, it also seems, and we've got a couple of videos on this. We can go ahead and pull them up. This almost seems like a move. There was a guy. Thank you again, Nephilim Hunter. He sent us a couple of the links we're about to watch. There's a guy who's been comparing like the state of the world to what was going on in George Orwell's 1984, and some of the weird like imperialism, I guess is that the term I'm looking for? Countries taking over other countries, empire shit that's going on does put me in mind of the three country entities that existed in 1984. I believe it was like Eurasia, Asia, East Asia, and Oceania. Right. And they were all constantly warring with each other, but all kind of fell under the heading of one world government. And that seems to be exactly where the hell we're headed right now, at least to me. Like, we've got this very obvious, like, kind of hegemony running things, and then beneath it, you have, like, the heads of these, like, state entities, people like whoever the hell is running the U.S., controlling not just us, obviously, but now we've acquired Venezuela and a whole mess of other shit. And so it seems like mass consolidation of power into these, like, three world powers that were constantly in war in 1984, and this guy kind of breaks it down a little bit.
Happened in Venezuela. We're only 3 days into 2026. Listen to what just happened last night. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Chinese officials arrived in Venezuela to meet with the president. At 1:15, unexpected airstrikes in Venezuela began, which, by the way, we're going to talk about what's the other side of this freaking story in a moment. At 2:40 in the morning, Trump confirms he's ordered strikes. Although there was already strikes, so we should know. Okay, but now we know what country it was. At 4:20 a.m., this all happened 6 hours after markets closed. This always happens. I told you guys before.
Okay. So, that seems like a very quick turnaround on capturing the president of a country. That seems odd to me. Like 6 hours to capturing the president of Venezuela. That seems strange. But then skip to skip another third down, and we'll watch the rest of this.
Okay. Our entire lives, there has been conflict.
So,
our entire lives, our grandparents, it's been the last...
Hold up. I forgot to unmute I'm going to rewind that a little bit. We're going to watch it again. I forgot to unmute the StreamYard link.
Damn it, John.
That one of the biggest ones was that we all have to always be in a constant state of war in order for fear and control and this, that, and the other to be more effective, to keep us under the thumb of, we're always at war. Dude, how many our entire lives, there has been conflicts. Our entire lives, our grandparents, it's been the last 100 years. War. You tell me there's not a way that we could live in this world just peacefully and organically?
All right.
Of course.
All right, I don't care about this hippie bullshit, but he makes a good point with the fact that there's no better excuse to get people, and we've all lived through this with all the Ukraine-Russia bullshit, all the 9/11 stuff that went on. There's no better excuse for the masses than to say, oh, well, it is your moral obligation to comply with X, Y, or Z because we're in some kind of righteous war for poppy, oil seeds, and Osama's ass. And you've got to do X, Y, or Z to make sure you're taking care of your damn country. So, give up your whatever it happens to be. In a lot of cases, just give up your rights. Give up your freedoms, give us your energy. That's the big one, is give us your energy, your attention, your focus for some kind of weird, moral status. Hang a damn Ukraine flag in your front yard so you can feel like you have some kind of, virtuous status in society. It seems like we've been heading this way for a long time. I mean, I didn't live through, World War II and all that shit, but I'm sure the same thing was going on back then. It's been constant pretty much since I was born in 93. 9/11 was in 01. And I mean, we had Desert Storm and all the shit before that. It's been going on nonstop throughout the course of my entire lifetime. Definitely your entire lifetime. And it's very 1984. It's right there in black and white. How we missed this shit. Sometimes it blows my mind how retarded I am to not notice this stuff on the daily. How retarded do I have to be not to wake up every morning and see this shit? I have to have some bearded hipster with a faggy hat explain it to me, okay? Which, I mean, this guy's great, don't get me wrong. But, it is upsetting how easy it is to miss this,
Yeah.
Thoughts, John?
Yeah, I mean, it goes, kind of beyond 1984 is, war was one of the things that the angels taught man the art of in Enoch.
That's
so
true,
it's
yeah.
when you're engaging with, and it's probably part of the reason that this constant warfare is such a thing, is that it's causing people to engage with this thing that was taught to us, to humanity, by false gods, right? And it's almost as when you engage, when with humanity engaging in constant warfare, is they're probably engaging in some form of worship of those entities by default. So it's probably a whole lot deeper than that. And you kind of, if you really think about it, you start to notice that in the energy that it brings into the populace. If you think back to the energy that was brought in post 9/11 and the whole celebrating the military and all of that, it actually starts to kind of seem pretty evident that there's that aspect at play if you really start to think about it.
Yeah, no, you make an excellent point. It doesn't, it's not a natural state. Most people I know aren't in their personal lives excited about knocking down their neighbor's door and blowing up his house. It takes a psyop, essentially, for us to get excited about going over to the Middle East, getting our guns, and finding a cave and shooting Osama. It takes a massive psyop to get us excited about that. It does. If you plainly said, by the way, my fellow Americans, we are going to go over, we're going to attack Osama, and we're going to take over Iraq and Iran, and we're going to take all their poppy, and we're going to distribute it as heroin to our people in Chicago and Los Angeles. If you just said that, nobody would buy in, ever. You would get no buy-in. We have to generate these false flag events to get people on board with whatever the fuck they're harvesting. I think somebody in this chat said, Loosh, I'm still not familiar enough with spiritual entities to know what the hell that is, but I'm kind of, as an ignorant person, I'm kind of in that camp now, because they don't need my permission or your permission to go blow up Iraq. They don't. They could just do that next week, right? We don't need our permission for that. So there's got to be something else at play, some other reason that they want this level of attention and focus on these constant wars. And not only that, but it gives you plenty of reasons to, steal people's wealth, steal people's, sense of security, make people scared, make them nervous, essentially make them that much easier to control and direct. I mean, it's all another psyop at the end of the day, it seems like. Right. Sorry, any thoughts on that, John, before we move on?
No, I mean, I think to that is it's rather obvious, I think, that it is a psyop at this point. I'm struggling to find anybody who's actually buying into the whole military-industrial complex narrative. And then it goes, I say this a lot, but it's the fact that people are starting to buy in less and less probably has a meaning to the whole thing in and of itself, Yeah. And so it's just trying to go that one layer deeper. Is what's actually going on here? Because you were spot on. It's they don't need to really propagandize you to go do it. Is like, the power for the vast majority of people, the power of, fear at the end of a loaded gun is enough for them to do whatever the hell they want. Right? So they don't really need people's buy-in just for the physical act of, doing whatever nonsense they're doing. So it's got to go a little bit deeper than that.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a hard time figuring out on my end what that is. And I mean, obviously, I think it's all related to like different kinds of spiritual warfare, but we could speculate about that all night. Let's just take a quick look at that next video. I don't want to watch the whole thing, but just a short look at it. Or honestly, it's the same shit. We don't have to watch it. So on the subject of Venezuela and all these constant wars, it was alleged that we went in, took the president of Venezuela, and then I read somewhere that we installed this woman as the next president of Venezuela. This is just saying she organically took the Venezuelan presidency. But just play this real quick, John. I read a real translation of what she said, so you can ignore the words on the screen.
Son of a...
Vengo como vicepresidenta ejecutiva.
Yes, thank you. I am now the president of Venezuela. I am sad that they took our president, but I am here now. I would like to thank Donald Trump for this. And I would also like to say thank you to the One World Order that gave me this position. And long live Klaus Schwab and Heil Hitler. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that was what she actually said. I don't know if any of y'all caught that. It's just, is any of this not staged? Is there any part of this that's not staged? That's really all I have to say or ask about this. It just seems so obviously staged. This stuff is getting more and more obvious over time. Why is it so plain now? It honestly kind of makes me nervous as to what's coming next.
No. Yeah, it's very plain, and it's just like I also like it's so obvious, and I question people like Dave Smith, and I question people like Ian Carroll or Clint Russell, like some of these people. It's like, how do you not see that? Like, why are you still engaging with it on this level if it is so obvious? It's like I watched Dave Smith did a podcast with Theo Vaughn that released today, and I watched it while I was working, and he said at some point he was talking about like the idea of the Constitution and be like, hey, is like it's not good to throw away that value, but it's just like, dude, that value was thrown away, hundreds of years ago. It's like, why are you still playing the game on this level? How is it not clear to you that this is all bullshit?
Right.
Like, how is it not clear to you? It's like Dave Smith is a really smart guy, but like, why are you devoting so much time to this? Because it makes no sense. It is so clearly retarded. It's so clearly fake. Like when I saw, the news about all the crap going on in Venezuela break, I didn't even really look at it because it's just like, I don't care.
Right. Yeah,
like it's still, I don't care because it's like, how the fuck do you even know that any of it's real anyway?
Yeah.
Like there's no way to know with all, AI bullshit out there and crap. Like there's no way to know.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you giving it that much attention?
Right.
It's like, whatever they're telling you about, it's fake. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And I don't know. That's just where I'm at with this kind of crap. Is like, I'm sure like there's actual purposeful shit to glean from all of it. And like there's actual stuff to look into that's probably going to give you insight to what actually is going on.
Yeah.
But like, I just am so exhausted by it because it's all just retarded.
Oh, dude, I mean, I feel it. If it weren't, this show is the only reason I stay in any kind of news. If it weren't for this, I mean, you knew me 3 or 4 years ago. I had no clue what the fuck was going on out in the news. I had no idea because there's really no reason to engage with it. Because like you said, you don't know if anything's real. With the obvious onset of AI, right? Forget what they were maybe able to do, 20, 30 years ago. Maybe it's been going on for forever. like with the obvious onset of all the shit people are able to do with AI, like who knows what's real and what's fake? Is anybody flying to Venezuela to vet these people who say we're bombing the fuck out of them? You know, we don't know.
Right.
We assume it's correct because people tell us it is, but we have no clue. And to your point about people like Dave Smith, it is mind-boggling, especially for people who claim to be libertarians, to continue to approach this kind of thing from the framework of like the Constitution has value. It's insane. And
well, it's more so just like trying, like he doesn't approach it from the ideas like, oh, this is unconstitutional, how awful. It's more so like the idea that like value and culture is actually something meaningful.
What do you mean
It's not
by like that value and culture?
the value in culture.
Oh,
So it's like the idea that like there's this, you know, constitutional value amongst the American people that's actually a thing. Like it's not. It never has been. It never has been. If you actually think about it, it probably never has been.
I mean, yeah, especially
Because it never worked.
yeah.
Given history or not, given mainstream history or not mainstream history, it never fucking worked.
We've
So
been
it never
railroaded since
exists.
day
It never
one, yeah.
existed in the first place.
Right.
So why are we talking about that at all?
Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point. I think people like him probably, because he's a good bit older than we are, he lived through some of the more patriotic days, I guess, and they still have a hard time letting go of that shit. That's not to say it's okay. I just think they have a harder, like the
Yeah.
older you get, the harder it is to let go. I was like 8 when 9/11 happened, so I've never given a shit. Were you even born when 9/11 happened?
I was 1.
Okay, you were 1. So you've also never given a shit.
Right.
Like, for people for whom 9/11 was an early occurrence, you didn't have any choice but either to get slapped awake or just, like, put on your mullet and your rebel flag and fly over to Iraq and step on a landmine. Like, those were your 2 options, right? And I think more and more people now, given how obvious a lot of the psyops and the propaganda have become, are falling into the I don't give 2 shits camp. For people who, like, whose minds were already developed by that time, though, it's a different story. Like, my siblings are, like, in their 40s, and they grew up with a much more, like, nationalistic mindset than I ever did. And that's not to say it's okay, but I think it's a harder, like, framework to break the older you are, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
And so for people like Dave Smith, he's like, what, like 42 or something?
Yeah.
Or for people who are listening to this, probably your fucking parents or your grandparents. I don't know how old you guys are. Your kids. I don't know. It may be a harder framework to break for those people because the world they lived in was so different than the world we live in now. It's fundamentally different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, you make a good point. Like, what value is there in that, like, culture?
And just what value is there in actually like talking about this and pretending that it's a legitimate system and pretending that like these are just simply different, like, you know, political or really like gang factions like
Right.
fighting with each other. And it's like it's not the reality that we live in.
Yeah.
It's obvious if you actually think about it that like the world stage is not a bunch of competing sects of power.
Right.
That's not what it is.
Not a bunch of competing nation states.
Yeah, that's not a thing. If you actually think about it, that's not what the world stage is
At all.
So
Not even close.
like I feel like at a level they have to be pretending. Like there's only so much. It's like I don't see how 2020 didn't wake those people out of that, because it was so blatantly obvious in 2020 that these are not competing nation states, that they're all under some type of orchestrated level of control. And you can talk forever about what the hell that is.
Well, I mean, to your point, like because I think what you're referring to is like the lockstep with which every
Yeah.
country did the same thing.
Yeah.
That is not organic. That's
It's
not
not.
natural.
It's not.
That would never happen
it
in a
wouldn't
world where
yeah.
each of these countries is like allegedly a separate
Have
entity. That
competing
doesn't
interests.
happen. Yeah.
If they have competing interests, that would not happen at all.
It was one of the first things I said in
Yeah.
2020 was this is bullshit. The whole world, if it is what they say it is, doesn't operate like at the drop of a like everybody doesn't change at the flip of a coin, the drop of a hat, the snap of a finger. That's not natural. Something else is at play here. And that was when I personally really got on board with the fact all the government shit's bull. It's fake. It's all
retarded.
fake.
And it's just like, and I feel like they are smart enough people and Dave Smith is the main one I'm referring to, but all the people who are kind of under his guild of thought, they're smart enough people, I feel like, to realize that. And I just don't understand, I don't understand why they don't.
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with people. Maybe they do, but a lot of their careers and livings are based on
a massive thing.
Yeah, assuming that that's a real thing.
Yeah, but just getting all up in arms about global politics, it's retarded. It's retarded, and I just don't get it. And it's just shit like Venezuela is they're just repeating the same scripts over and over again.
Yeah.
How do you not?
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't know. That was the insight I got. Why I wasted 3 hours watching that podcast. Maybe that's on me. The Avant's funny, so it was somewhat entertaining. But
that's fair.
Yeah, I just.
All right. So, in an effort to get off the subject before you burst a bubble, let's look at our last Venezuela, and then we're done with this, folks. Our last Venezuela link, which was given to us by our friends at Nike. Which, if they want to support the show, Nike, if you're hearing this, we would love to have you as a sponsor. So, headline, Nike tracksuit worn by Venezuela's Maduro is selling out after viral photo, which I just love this. I love the fact that here in America, we're so devoted to capitalism that we see a guy who's been marketed to us as a scumbag, a drug trafficker, a child rapist probably, and we say, you know what, he's got a nice tracksuit. Maybe I can find that on Amazon. Maybe I can get 2-day shipping on that tracksuit. It fucking sold out. They sold out of the tracksuit. That's amazing. That is a testament to one of the few things I love about this country, and that is the capitalist, fuck you nature of the populace. You know what? Scumbag, but I like the way he dresses.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that, this shit's not working. It's just not working. Is the whole, the war narrative in just the entire, in reality, it's kind of validating my point.
It is. It absolutely
political narrative does not work. People aren't actually buying into it on some level of their subconscious. They're not buying into it. It kind of proves my point a little bit. It's just retarded. And it's just we're at the end of some type of empire or some type of age. And it's just...
It's amazing.
In all honesty, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I laughed when I saw that. It's that's hilarious.
It's glorious.
And
can we talk for a second about how all of the dictators have the same mustache?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Especially
because he looks a lot like Saddam Hussein.
He does. Yeah.
I saw a picture of them side by side.
They all have the same mustache. It's the dictator mustache.
Yeah, what's his name? Truth Seeker on Twitter posted a picture of them side by side. And they do look the same.
Are they the same person? I don't know. Is it the same guy? He also, this reminds me, isn't there some kind of video game streamer who looks kind of like that? With the glasses and shit?
I don't know.
Things like Dr. Disrespect or somebody like that who looks kind of like this. Maybe he's also Saddam Hussein. I don't know. But what a testament to the unflagging spirit of a capitalist country than to go out and buy the same tracksuit, which it's a $120 tracksuit. It's disappointing to me that this is the best a dictator could buy. It kind of takes a little bit of my drive to do better for myself. Because if this is what the president of Venezuela is doing, a guy who's trafficking, what's the best I'm gonna do? If the best he can do is a $120 tracksuit. What's the point of we even working? What's the point? I would hope he can do better than that.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed, honestly. Yeah. It's not gold plated or anything. They're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fur lined. It's just a tracksuit. It's a nice
fur
tracksuit.
line would be kind of retarded in Venezuela, I feel like.
Who cares? He's a
imagine
dictator.
It's that cold in their winters, but I don't know.
He's a dictator. What you do is you wear a fur lined tracksuit inside with the air conditioning on, cuddle up to your tiger. That's what you do if you're a dictator and a man. That's what I imagine, at least. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So I thought that was amazing. Thank you for putting that in there. That's probably my favorite story we'll talk about tonight. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about AI. We did an ep on AI, and it's been a couple of weeks. He does look a little bit like Stalin. That Hunter, you're right.
Probably why you were thinking that way.
Yeah.
Jesus, why the hell am I looking at this?
She is so
This is
very in your face,
yeah.
right?
This was horrifying.
We talked a little
You should
bit.
have warned me. I'm not happy.
You don't like those like
it's
millennial
just-
mom duck lips?
well,
You don't like
yeah,
that?
It's just, I mean, the title you put in there, it freaking is demonic. Holy shit.
Stand by. So we talked a little bit about AI, and maybe she looks like Stalin. We talked a little bit about AI a couple of weeks ago and how it's becoming like a new secular god. Let's take a quick listen to this video, and then more to come on my thoughts on that.
Changing the world. Changing whose world? Because in about 4 years, our electric bill is going to go up by 70% because of AI. Most electric companies can't provide the amount of electricity that these AI data centers need. Yeah, and in order to give that, they're going to have to charge everybody else more. So, God, these massive computers need a lot of water to cool down. Yeah, kind of like a laptop that overheats, except it's a huge plant, so it needs a lot of water to cool down. In one place in Oregon, it used 25% of
Skip ahead
all
a
the
little bit.
water
Making
that.
me unbelievably angry. I just
I
want
know.
you to know that.
It's okay. Skip ahead a little bit.
Okay. I
To
just
suck the water
detest
dry
everything about this
so that
person.
they can cool off their AI generators. No way. Yeah, just one question to ChatGPT doesn't go to the internet.
Skip
It
ahead
goes to
again,
an
like a quarter of the
actual
way through.
place. And that actually have to work as hard and we have more time to system. AI is making jobs for people. It's supposed to make us have a utopia so that eventually we don't actually have to work as hard and we have more time to our family. Yeah, that's what they told us, but instead they're replacing us with AI in our jobs and then we can't find work because everybody's replacing everybody with AI and
All right,
robots and
kill
stuff
it.
like that. So eventually
All right, so stick with me here.
I'm gonna try.
You talked
That
last
woman was
week.
horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you think that.
I feel like that's just an obvious fact.
You talked last week, or maybe it was a few weeks ago, about the idea of like AI becoming the new secular god, right? What is one of the themes? What is one of the big themes throughout, like especially if we look at like Old Testament Bible? One of the things that people are sure to do, one of the things God asks for is give him your first fruits, offer sacrifices to him. That's what the people do. Even in like secular religions or pagan religions, what do? They offer sacrifices to their God, right? And what I'm seeing here, at least the concept I'm seeing here, is these AI data centers are essentially becoming an altar to the new AI god. Like, we're essentially, if you want to go with like the biblical concept of like giving of your first fruits, your power bill is going to go up. They're going to take up all your water. You're going to offer them all of your questions. Like, how is this any different from some kind of pseudoscience deity? It's the exact same thing. I mean, there's literally no difference if you think about it just rationally and don't like conflate the idea of like, oh, it's a physical thing I can visit. It's not a deity. We're treating it exactly like one. We're offering it like the best of what we have, the same way you would an actual deity. Like, it is functionally the same.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that from the. I did not even think about that from the aspects of how you just described that. That's a very good point. Yeah, and dude,
You
I
okay
don't
there,
even,
bud?
I'm partially that having to just see that woman just threw me off my thought a little bit. So you say something now, and I'll try to formulate a point here in a second.
Another thing that I was curious about, because they use an absolute shitload of water in these data
Right.
centers, right? And one thing I was curious about was what happens with this water, because they do some recycling of the water like within the data center, but after they're done using it, like, it has to be trashed. They can't keep using it.
Mhm.
And one of the bigger reasons that they have to trash the water is because the time it's like they're through with it, it's mind-numbingly toxic, like absolutely outrageously toxic. It's full of things like glycols. It's got a bunch of heavy metals in it. And for folks who aren't aware, who didn't go to biochem or skipped biochem, it's the same thing as antifreeze. It's what's in a lot of this water. okay, along with a lot of heavy metals and a whole mess of other shit by the time they're done using it. And so they have to, I can't remember what it's called. It's called like blowing off the system. And so they can use, I know it's blowing out. It's got blowing in the title somewhere. So look that up, John. Let's find out if I was correct. Maybe I just remembered blowing. Maybe I got excited while I was reading it and just remembered blowing. That's a possibility. But it's making the water that comes out of these places outrageously toxic. Like, nuclear power plants are way less toxic than what these things are doing.
It's blowing out.
Blowing out. That's different than blowing off. I may have confused the idea of blowing and sucking off. I may have put those two things together. Got to suck off the AI today. But
I'll probably get to that point.
I mean, yeah, it's but just the thing that I think is insane is the way these are kind of acting like modern humanity's altar to the AI god. Like, you give it your resources, you give it your water the same way like an offering was burn up. We're gonna burn up your water. We're gonna make it toxic. You can't use it anymore.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
and they're tremendously toxic to the environment. Not saying like don't ever use AI, but it seems kind of fucked. These data centers seem pretty damn screwed up.
Yeah, it's a good analogy that I haven't really thought of, and it's an interesting way to think. It's an interesting way to think about it, especially when all of these technocrats, the way they talk about it, right, and the way they do deify it.
Yeah,
and in all honesty, it probably is some type of entity in and of itself anyway.
Right.
Most technological advancements are that way at some point in their origin. So,
yeah. And one of the things, the last thought I really have on this, and it's along the same lines, is the idea, like, we grew up obviously in like very Southern religious conservative culture, and I think part of the reason this is kind of snuck under a lot of people's radar, the whole idea of like it being like these data centers being some kind of like AI altar, AI god, is people will come from the pulpit and they'll be like, if you think about what you have going on that morning before you think about Jesus, that's an idol. If you take $1 out of your pocket and instead of giving it to a homeless person, you buy food for your kids, that's an idol. If and to a certain degree, I feel like that's just guilt-mongering bullshit, the way people talk about it like that. It's a great way to get cash in the plate at your 501(c)(3). But this is a legitimate idol. Like, this is an actual pseudo-deity that's out there taking your resources, being sacrificed to. Like, it is actually that truly embodied.
Yeah, and it's also is like church conflates other gods and graven images as the same thing,
and they're not.
And they're two separate commandments. In the 10 Commandments, and right.
Well, that's because the modern church doesn't think like there that's
the point I'm
yeah.
getting to is that like it's easy to kind of have that belief if you don't actually believe that there are other little g gods out there, right? That there are other deities, and when you don't actually take the spiritual realm seriously as how it's described in Scripture.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
And you get crap like that as a result of it,
Yeah. It's the age-old analogy of people being asleep, their eyes being closed, them not being awake, not having ears to hear, whatever term you want to use. Like, that's exactly what it is. Time and time again. We see it repeated over and over and over again. And this is just another example of that, because like that didn't even hit me. And you plainly said it on this show like a couple of weeks before. It didn't hit me until I was going over notes for tonight.
Right.
It took that much of a slap in the face. Like, I've been actively looking into AI for a few weeks now, and it didn't hit me until yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how tough this shit is. I don't know. Yeah. Anything else on that before we move on, John?
Yeah, not a lot. It's just understand that like science, the shit that all cap science, the shit that makes all of this is a religion in and of itself.
Yeah.
And if you understand that, it makes you see a lot of this a lot more clearly, because it's like it's a religion. It's a religion in all honesty that needs a deity, because it doesn't really have one. Its deity that it has now is retarded. The personification of the universe is retarded. So is they're in a way creating their own deity. And just pay attention to it.
Yeah. before we move on to the next one, folks, if you like the show, best way to support us, give us a like, give us a follow wherever you're watching. Please, every little bit helps. Consider becoming a member of the Patreon. We've got the early bird special up going on right now that will be going full on live March 1st with a bunch of cool Patreon exclusive content. So just a quick plug for that. And then we'll get into all the other shit we have going on towards the end of the show. So last few things on the docket. How about the cutting down of the... What do you have next, John? Sorry, what is that?
You literally have that piece of paper in front of you.
Oh,
Have you not been
I
going
moved
ahead?
on. Yeah, sorry. Yes, this is the next thing we have on the docket. Let's listen to this.
Okay. Was it what you were going to talk
I put
about?
this in here for you, actually. I want to hear what you have to think about this.
Okay.
The really interesting part about the idea of the little season. Today, people believe there's no way we could be there because X, Y, and Z have not happened yet, or at least they don't believe it's happened yet.
Right.
But that's only because you've been told it hasn't happened yet. So whether you agree with me or not, you do have to wrestle with the idea. The book of Revelation, chapter 20, tells us of this time where Jesus and the saints reign for 1,000 years. The devil's bound. He's put in a pit. And then after the 1,000 years, the devil must be loose for a little season. And then he goes out and deceives the nations, goes out to the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, and assembles an army. So if the premillennial view is that this kingdom is very physical on the earth, it's a very fleshly kingdom, Christ himself and the saints are in glorified bodies and they are ruling in modern day Jerusalem. Well, how does the devil deceive people after that? Because if you think, well, we would know, but how does he do it then?
Yeah.
How does it deceive anybody? If you can literally go look at the God King, you can go watch him on your TV, you can watch him on your iPhone, and you can say, he's right there, I'm not going to be tricked because he's right there. So how does he do it? And I think that the only way that really makes sense is, for one, there's a misinterpretation about what the kingdom was supposed to be. Jesus told the Pharisees, the kingdom is not coming in ways that can be observed. So why did he say that if it was going to come in ways that can be observed? Pilate asked him if he was a king, and he said, my kingdom is not of this world. So I believe that Jesus and the saints are ruling from heavenly Jerusalem, and I believe that the architecture, when you get into like Tartaria and all that kind of stuff, the old world, I think that there can be a spiritual, metaphysical kingdom that we're connected to right now, regardless of where we are in the timeline, because that's what Jesus is really talking about, the kingdom. He's talking about the Holy Spirit. So we're connected with the kingdom of heaven because we have God's Spirit in us. If you think in a way that there's a lot of spiritual warfare happening today.
Oh, God, so much.
Right. So can you imagine a time where the devil was not out there pulling the strings of all the world leaders? What if men were actually worked in the best interests of other men? What could they have accomplished then? And I think that maybe that is what the physical manifestation of the kingdom maybe could be, the grand architecture, the Gothic cathedrals, and the things that really don't make sense, that if these people were just worried about just getting enough food to not starve and worried about not freezing to death in the wintertime, avoiding plague, how did they create some of the grandest architecture the world's ever seen?
So, I literally put that in there because I wanted to see what you thought. What do you think, John?
I haven't. I mean, I've heard some of the little season arguments. I haven't really looked into it enough to formulate an opinion. I can get on board with the logic of it, especially when you start looking into the whole idea of a lost advanced society and
Yeah.
you know what all comes in play with Tartaria. I just haven't looked into it enough, but what I have kind of seen, I just haven't really been convinced. I will say his talk about like Gothic architecture, some of that shit's occultic as hell.
Yeah.
So I would throw that out of there.
Yeah.
But his overall point, I could at least get on board with it. I need to study it a whole lot more to actually formulate an opinion. The logic of it does make, at least for the most part, it makes sense. Right, is how, you know, if you talk about yeah, I'll have to check him out then. If you talk about his question is like, how does the devil like deceive people after the millennial reign?
Yeah.
Well, the only way to really do that, if you take it logically, is to convince them it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and
you
I mean,
know, and that
yeah.
like the logic of all that does make sense. I've just got to actually do a really deep dive study into actually understanding, you know, Revelation prophecy better, because I don't have a great understanding of it now.
Sure.
He said something about the kingdom not being physical. Not sure that I agree with that the millennial reign wasn't a physical reign. It's always read to me that it was,
Yeah.
because it's always you know what? I don't remember what chapter of Revelation that is, but
Well, okay, while you're looking that up, one of the only thing that I would have to say kind of in argument with his point is, as far as Tartaria is concerned, like the idea of Tartaria, I think one of the easiest ways to kind of re-deceive people, if you will, is one of the things that a lot of people say about Tartaria is like there was a point where a lot of humanity, if not all of humanity, was kind of gathered in one place, and it talks about gathering like essentially all of the kids, like a lot of the legends of Tartaria, like all these trains full of children, and letting the old generations die off. How do you deceive a whole new generation? You let the people who remember shit die off, and you indoctrinate the young ones, right? Children are a lot easier to indoctrinate than people who have, lived through a particular thing, a particular event. And so what you do is you take care of the people that remember, and you indoctrinate the ones that don't. Like I've heard that about Tartaria a number of times. Right. Again, I don't know if that's the case. A lot more research to come on that. But yeah, the orphan trains, exactly, Mad Hatter. And so, I mean, I think that's exactly how that would happen. But go ahead with your point, John.
Yeah, I was just reading, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. He laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years and cast him into the bottomless pit, shut him up, and a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And that mount he must be let loose for a little season. And I saw thrones and sat upon them, and judgment was given to them. And I saw souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, talking about the four is talking about the little season, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received the mark of this is the tribulation, or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So this is talking, that is talking about the millennial reign.
Yeah.
For the ones who were not deceived in the tribulation. I guess it doesn't really describe it, at least in that version, as physical or
metaphorical,
or no, physical or like spiritual. So I'll have to give some thought on that and actually study into that a little bit. Biggest thing is like I need to actually go back and look into more original language. I have a lot of problems with different translations of the Bible. So
okay,
but
overarching point to make. I think the idea of like, is it physical? Is it spiritual? I would argue it's all physical on some level.
Right.
I don't think like this whole like spiritual plane, physical plane nonsense bullshit that we were, brought up with, at least in our like, religious tradition, makes sense. Like it is all manifested like physically through the ether somehow. Right. I don't think there's any way to get around that. Now, was it like here in America? Maybe not. But are there other places that are very obviously hidden from us? Sure. But I mean, outside of that, I don't know either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Hatter's on point in the chat. Well done, sir. Or ma'am. I don't know which you are. Sorry. But yeah, it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I don't know. There's something for some reason, I'm not sure what it is, that kind of has me at a little bit of just like automatically geared away from it. And I don't know if that's like dogma from how I was brought up, or if it's if it's, the creator speaking to me, telling me like, hey, that's not right in 100%. But I don't know. That's probably my best answer is I just don't know. But I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard
to take like the biggest thing it makes me question is like, what is the purpose of like what is going on now in like, it always seems like throughout history, at least what we are given, it always seems like they're trying to make Revelation play out. If that makes sense. I don't know if you kind of noticed that pattern, but like it always seems like, this kind of concept that everybody thinks they're in the end times.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And it always seems like they're trying to make Revelation play out. And if Revelation has actually already happened up into this point, then what's the point in trying to convince, well, now that I kind of say that maybe to, convince people that it hasn't happened, but I don't know. I just haven't understood, like, if they're trying to at least make it play out as to why. Because it's like, I've always kind of started to work out the concept is like, well, maybe, maybe it's the idea is that they're trying to invoke it, or they're trying to provoke it. That's
Heard
always
that a lot.
That's always been kind of my mindset, because Ed Mabry did a podcast with Tinfoil Hat back in, might have been October of this year. If nobody's seen it, go check it out, because it's absolutely incredible. Nephilim Hunter, that's one thing I was thinking about, was the fires in like the whole World's Fair in the 19th century. Does lead a really good argument for at least something with the whole Tartarian thing, but moving on, that's beside the point, topic for another day.
Yeah.
What was I saying? He did a podcast with Tinfoil Hat, and they were talking about kind of the nature of God, and like the idea is like, is God like all knowing in the way that we think of him as all knowing? And he kind of laid out the idea that like God doesn't know information that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
Right. And we have the ability to create information that doesn't exist yet. So it's like all of the prophecy in scripture is more due to him understanding our nature as our creator, but because he doesn't know information that doesn't exist yet, he doesn't necessarily have the timeline of when it's all going to play out. So it's like, and I kind of
counterpoint to that.
Well, let me finish real quick. I kind of extrapolated to the point, well, it's like, maybe that's why everybody feels like they're in the end days, because they might be, and the powers that be are trying to provoke it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to provoke it and start the whole thing to play out.
That could be. Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's a big thing I'm still trying to work out and understanding all of this.
Yeah.
But that was one of the better like explanations of that, and the better explanations of free will that I've heard from a biblical perspective.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. A couple of things. Mad Hatter, I'm loosely familiar with the Samson option. Are you saying that refers to like is that like, are people conflating that with the beast? I'm not sure. So like feel free to let us know in the chat or DM us or whatever later if you need more like time to type it out. But as far as that goes, John, the only thing I would say to that is, as far as like whether or not God knows when the end times are coming, there's that passage, I can't remember what book it's in, but Jesus literally says nobody knows when the end is coming, not even the Son, but the Father does. And so Jesus at least alludes to the idea. And again, that take makes a lot of sense. I see Israel, everybody dies option.
Yeah,
that take makes a lot of sense to me.
Right.
But like Jesus, with the exception of the idea that Jesus literally says nobody knows when it's coming except God, except the Father.
Right.
And so it seems like he's saying God has a date in mind, and maybe I'm misinterpreting that.
Well, I think the interpretation from the idea that I kind of laid out will be like, yeah, he's the only one who knows the date, because he's the only one who understands our nature enough to know is like, hey, they're at the point
what events
where
will
all
bring
of
it about
is ready to play out.
Yeah.
And
I've always
it could be interpreted that way, but like I said, that's just one theory that I've kind of grabbed onto, that it makes somewhat sense.
Right.
But I'm so open to my mind being changed, because it's like the idea that anybody actually understands all of this 100%
is insane. Anybody who says they do is full of shit.
It's part of the problem I have with some of the little seasoned people, is they kind of play out. It's like, you've never heard of this, bro? It explains everything.
I know.
And it's just like, I'm sorry, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's like there are a few people out there who are like that. That doesn't throw out the theory, but it does. It gives me an aversion to it. I always get aversions to that kind of shit, especially in like, some people defend it with such vitriol.
Yeah.
And like anything that's defended with such vitriol like that, I'm very, very skeptical of, because it's like there's just probably an agenda at play. There was something in the chat. Oh yeah, Nephilim Hunter. I've got to watch that. I've heard it's really like it was a really good discussion. It's on my list to listen to this week. So I need to listen to that show he did and formulate some thoughts on it. Ed Mabry, he did a debate. He's an anti-Little Caesar position. He debated. I can't remember the guy debated on Tony Merkel's The Confessionals for like a 3-hour, and I heard it was a really good a really good debate from like a good argument for the Little Caesar, a good argument against, and like both of them kind of made points that you actually have to think about.
Yeah,
it was actually a well-structured debate, so I got to check it out.
I mean, that's a tough problem to come at. For a second, John.
And sorry, he's dying.
All right, sorry about that, folks. Yeah, Mad Hatter, that makes a lot of sense. I'd wondered what folks were really referring to because I knew about like the program, but that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, who knows? The idea that I've bandied about, and we can kind of leave this topic here because we have one or two. We've got to end the show soon. We've got one or two more things to talk about. The idea that I've always bandied about with people is I feel like whatever this thing is that we're doing, right? The creators are going to let this thing, whatever you want to call it, run until people's minds can't be changed anymore. It's a very like Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah type argument, but to me it makes rational sense. The idea of like a loving, compassionate God keeping the world going until such a time, kind of like the days of Noah, right? Yeah. Everybody's fucked, so we're going to end the experiment, right? And to me, it makes sense for it to just be that again, right? And maybe that's too simplistic of a way to view it. That's always been kind of my thought process: is this thing's going to keep running until people's minds can't be changed.
Yeah.
So that's
Robert's used that analogy a lot, and it does make a lot of sense. Is that like it kind of seems that way, like it just kind of seems like, because like you put that in conjunction with like we talk about a lot. It's like, hey, this order's breaking down. Like it just is. It's like even if you like from century to century, it's so obvious that like the human condition is slowly, and not even really slowly, it's sped up over the last few couple decades, but it's been breaking down, and it's starting to function less and less. And it does kind of seem that like maybe God is ready to just pull the plug on it. And maybe there's somebody advocating on our behalf. It's like, not yet. Right. Like, let me go find 10 more. Let me go find 10 more. Let me go find 10 more.
Yeah.
Kind of like, Abraham negotiating with God on behalf of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
And God's just like, all right, you can go try, do your thing. And he comes back, more, go do your thing. But eventually, right?
Eventually the numbers are going to dwindle.
It's going to dwindle, and it's going to be time for everything to go.
And you can see that in the breakdown of society over time.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to more. It's probably why everybody thinks that they're in the end times.
Yeah.
And technically you are. You're at some stage in the story.
Sure, it's just the proximity of it to when you're living that changes.
Right.
And part of me, and this is me being very cynical, I think some of the people who preach like end times nonstop all day, like, I think it's a little bit fear porny. I think it's a little bit like, I'm out here for your attention, for clicks type shit. And maybe that's, again, me being cynical, but I got very weary of that very early on. What?
From my understanding, Jesus won't return until Israel repents and sees him as Christ, so we got a while. Yeah, if Israel is the Israel of the Bible, maybe so. I would say that they're not, but
same. I would argue that as well. But that's hilarious. All right, we need to move on.
Yeah,
we'll have an interesting talk,
and we'll 100% will be talking about that more and more as episodes go on.
Absolutely,
there's definitely some stuff I want to bring up with Steven at the end of the month. So
yeah. Hopefully, we'll get Tyler on, who we've had on before. I'm guessing most of these folks haven't seen those eps, but hopefully, we'll have him on again.
Go check
soon
that
to talk
one
about
out. That one is probably one of my favorite.
Do you remember what number it was, John? Let's pull that up before the end of the show. Not right now.
I'll pull it up. I think it's in the 30s. But
okay, yeah, we'll pull it up later for folks that are listening. So, not completely unrelated to the Blue Star Nation. They like to jab their people. They're very passionate about jabbing their people. Trump and the Department of Health and Human Services came out recently. Fake ass Jews. The Department of Health and Human Services came out recently and said for the first time in supposed history, they are removing jabs from the schedule. I never thought I would see the day. So, from what I have seen, and I did a little bit of research on this, they have reduced the number of illnesses that people are getting jabbed against from 17 to 11. Now, do not confuse this with doses, okay? Because that's very different. Most people are jabbed against the same disease multiple times, and we're going to talk about this. This is a great plug for our next step. We're going to talk about germ versus terrain theory this weekend. Please tune in for that. That's something I'm very passionate about. I'm very excited to talk about it. Most people are jabbed against the same disease, though, multiple times. So typically on the jab schedule, there are around 72 to 80 plus doses of these things administered to children between the time they're born and the time they turn 18, okay? And so they're reducing that. So we're moving from 17 diseases that we're injecting against down to 11. That should conceptually, and this was based on very cursory research, so I could be wrong, reduce the number of doses from 72-ish down to around 30 to 40. So essentially cutting the number of doses in half. So in effect, hopefully reducing the number of opportunities for your kid to be retarded in half. Hopefully. So hopefully we're cutting the number of retards in half. Now we'll see if that's actually the case. But they allegedly will be reducing that. So one thing I did find interesting, though, is some of the diseases that they're not going to be jabbing against. Hep B, Hep A is on there. The flu, meningococcal meningitis is one. RSV. You know what's not listed there is Hep C. And for those folks who aren't aware, Hep C, that injection is given to most kids immediately after they're born. It's an STD. I don't know why people are doing that. And why we're not taking that off the schedule. That seems utterly fucked. That's typically given to your child in the hospital immediately after they're born. They go give their kid a Hep C shot, and then, or maybe it is Hep B, and then move on. That just seems messed up. But my question is here, I say all that to say, what's the catch? No part of me believes that we're just going to repeal vaccines from the schedule and not fuck somebody over some way or other, right? So what's the catch? And honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. And maybe this is me being tinfoil. It is Hep B. My bad, Nephilim Hunter. So it is Hep B. They are removing that from the schedule. So that's actually good. But again, what's the damn catch? Maybe this is tinfoil hat guy talking. But when I see something like this, something that is conceptually should be objectively good, my first question is, who is going to get fucked? And I don't know. I don't have any answer for it because ideally this is a good thing. We're taking these things off the schedule. Hopefully your kid's less likely to be a drooling retard next week. You're less likely to have to, feed your kid till they're 45 and they drop dead of some kind of brain. Objectively, this should be good, but maybe the downside of this is that society is to a point, or I just can't imagine anything positive coming from the government and all these alleged healthcare entities, But I can't help but wonder what the catch is here. I can't help but wonder. It seems it's one of those too good to be true moments that we're taking jabs off the schedule. Really? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. I don't know what the catch is. What I will say, I've kind of started to feel that when they do stuff like this, it's a test in discernment for what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And it's probably designed to kind of lower people's guards a little bit who aren't, necessarily sound in understanding reality. And kind of lowers their guards, and they can kind of shear stuff in behind that, are just as bad and just as deceiving. What that is, I've got no freaking clue. But I will just encourage people. It's hey, doing things like this is it's a win. Be happy. Be
Conceptually,
happy about
it is, yeah.
Like, but also understand that like the reason that you are having that thought process is because your intuition. You understand that this system, these people who are making these decisions, are objectively not good. They are objectively they are evil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, they all pretty much worship freaking Satan.
Yeah.
Right. They're objectively bad, and you know that. Right. So if they are trying to give you an olive branch or give you some food when you're hungry, the other hand's going to come and slap you at some point.
Yeah.
Just like people have got to understand that. It's like, doesn't mean don't take the apple, but put your hand up and block the other shot,
Right.
It's like, take the win that, people aren't going to have to freaking, jab, be forced to jab their kids, especially all the people who are stuck in the public school system.
Right.
But just understand that these people aren't good, and they're going to be coming in behind this. They're still going to be coming in behind this for you.
You're absolutely right. I pulled a quote from the Department of Health and Human Services put out an article about the decision to reduce the number of jabs on the schedule, and Dr. Marty Makari, who I imagine is in some position of authority in the Department of Health and Human Services, said, and I quote, I'll try not to butcher the accent, folks, "Public health works only when people trust it. The trust depends on the transparency, rigorous science, and the respect for families. This decision recommits HHS 203. Now, I just want to read something again. Public health works only when people trust it. That, friends, is a load of, the polite term is bullshit. Public health, honestly, is fake, okay? You have your personal health that doesn't affect fucking anybody else, okay? The idea of public health is, in my opinion, just another arm of the propaganda machine to control you. Health works because health works. Your body works because it works. It has nothing to do with trusting in anything. They're going to tell you, public health works if you trust in the science. You don't need to trust in science for it to work. It's not a deity, or at least it shouldn't be. This is some bullshit. What, John?
This is a loaded statement telling you what's actually going on in plain sight.
Yeah.
It does only work if people trust it. You got to understand what public health is. The idea.
I mean, that's okay. That's a good point.
The
That's a good
idea
point. Yeah.
of, what happened in 2020 was public health, and it only worked because people trusted. That statement is 100% true.
That's a great point.
If you define it, it's 100% true. They're telling you straight up. It's 100% right. It only works if people trust it. People only buy into this whole idea of we're gonna get into this more in depth on Saturday. People only buy into the whole idea of contagion and all that nonsense because they believe it's true.
Yeah,
that's the number one driving factor as to why this all happens is because they believe it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's such a good point, John.
He's right. He's just a lying scumbag in what his definitions are.
Sack of shit. I mean, you make a good point. It is kind of like a revelation of the method type moment where they're telling you exactly what's going on. That didn't even occur. I was so naively excited about the idea of them taking jabs off the schedule, and B, wondering what the hell's the next thing to come down the pipe. That didn't even occur.
I mean, that's
to me.
probably actually part of the game here is keeping up the facade. Is we're good altruistic scientists caring about your health.
Yeah,
look at us. We're adjusting our schedule of poison from 72 to 11. You're still getting 11 poison, but we're taking it down some. Look at us. We care about you.
Right.
We care about you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly
that's probably
what it is. I think that's part of the game. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's part of it. Gosh. All right. Well, I think that about does it for this week, folks. John, you got anything else? Are we missing anything from the Twitter? Do we want we probably need to wrap this up.
Let me double
Let's
check.
take a
it. I
quick
think
look,
most of it can
see if
probably
it's
be pushed out to another
anything we need to talk about
to
immediately.
another
Yeah.
day.
Take a quick gander here. Oh,
We could
let's
talk about this
end
real
on
quick,
this.
'cause
Yeah, all right.
This is, in my opinion, albeit it's definitely it's funny.
It's
It is
hilarious.
funny.
So CBS, a news anchor for CBS, whose name sounds very Greek, I can't remember what his name is, put out a statement that they're going to report the news for the people, I guess. And it seems odd that this is coming right after Barry Weiss becomes CEO, right after we install head J bitch herself as CEO.
Right after Israel buys it.
Right.
It's
What's his name bought it? What's the guy?
I don't know.
That tech the head of that tech company bought it.
Oh, Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison
Yeah.
bought it, and then installed Barry Weiss, and then this comes out. Like,
Yeah, we don't.
So let's play this. Let's play a little bit of this video
wanna
real
play
quick.
it? I was
Just a
gonna tell
tiny
people to
bit.
Watch it on his own time.
Pause this real quick. Translation. We have realized that you guys have started to think that we're full of shit a little bit, and we would like to take our thumbs out of our asses just a little bit to reach directly for your throats to hopefully have you re-engage with our propaganda program. And we're back in.
God damn it! Keep forgetting to unmute the StreamYard thing. There we go. You should hear this.
John,
now.
do we
Just
have
about
sound?
everybody
We
for more
should
than
now.
20 years as I've traveled America on this assignment or that. My mom's neighbors in West Virginia, my own neighbors in New York City, thousands and thousands of conversations in between. Sometimes people want to talk to me about our coverage of NAFTA or the Iraq War. Other times it's all about Hillary Clinton's emails or Russiagate. Or more recently, COVID lockdowns, Hunter Biden's laptop, or the president's fitness.
Pause
for
it again.
office.
We're upset that the American public is starting to realize that we lied to you a little bit. We're pissed that you're not jerking off to our images of soldiers and gay trans people reading to children. We're upset about that. And we would like you to re-engage with our satanistic, homosexual, faggy bullshit that we parade in front of you every week. So please, keep watching. Like, what the hell? Who decided that this was going to change people's minds? Is anybody's mind going to be changed by this? What do you think, John?
No, that's what I found so funny about this. It's like, it's so evident, like we talked about it tonight, it's so evident that like this thing is not, it's just not working, that the narrative they've chosen is like, we apologize for lying to you. We're going to tell the truth now. That's literally what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, we have not been telling the truth. We're going to do it now. We have decided to do this radical thing called we're going to report on the news. It's just like it's so evident that this shit just isn't working anymore.
It's like
And
if your girlfriend has
hilarious.
been like cheating
It's
on
so
you,
funny.
if your girlfriend's been cheating on you for months, right? And you've asked her to stop, and she's like, "No, I'm going to keep fucking Big J," right? And that's actually a real person. Never mind. I'm going to keep fucking Big Ted. And you've asked her constantly, and she's like, "No, I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep coming home and beating the shit out of you because domestic abuse is good." And she comes home one day after cheating on you for months and months and months, and she's like, "You know what? I'm going to be faithful to you. I'm still going to keep going to the gym with Big Leon, and I'm still going to keep working out with him, and I'm still going to have him over to our home gym and moan a lot, but I'm going to be faithful to you moving forward. But don't mind when I go to the gym with him. Don't mind when I go moan with him in our home." You know, like that is essentially what's going on here. They're saying, hey, some of you have realized we're full of shit and we've lied to you a little bit. Please, we're going to be honest now. Does anybody think this is real? Does anybody think this is not fake? Like, I just can't. It's so. And he goes on. I watched this full video. He goes on to say, even if CBS doesn't, I personally will. I'll be sure to ensure that I give you the real news every evening. It's so insane. I would encourage everybody to go watch it on their own time because I think it's genuinely hilarious. So yeah, that was a good one to end on, John. Good job. Folks, thank you for listening tonight. It's been an absolute blast. We've had a ton of fun. So be sure to tune in this coming Saturday at 7. We're going to be talking about German terrain theory. Then on January 23rd, we'll be going live with Steven from the Biblical Hitman. Hopefully going to be talking about some Genesis 6 stuff. Right, John? Is that what's on the docket?
That I would like to do a little bit of a dive into the meaning behind like what's going on in Jude 1:9.
All right.
Because that's a very interesting story.
Oh, the idea that like Michael, or was it Gabriel?
It's Michael and the devil fighting over Moses' body.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I've got questions about that stems from that.
Yeah. That is
the
fascinating.
whole idea of like the lifespan of humanity and some of that. So it'll be a bunch of stuff. Mad Hatter, if you've got someone to raid, I'll send y'all somewhere. No one we're following is live at the moment. But if not, go check out Already Dead here in about an hour because I think those boys are.
Yeah, that's going on soon. I think
off.
9:30 is when they kick off. So go check that out. Again, if you like the show, give us a follow, like the stream. Consider checking out the Patreon. We've got the early bird special going on through the end of February. So I think it's a $2 entry fee for that. Ton of cool perks coming with that. You'll get our uncensored eps, everything we do. Obviously, the lives aren't censored because how would you fucking do that? But the edits are. So you get uncensored eps. You'll get a bonus ep at least once a month. We're gonna try to do more often, but at least once a month. We'll be sending out some stickers, some extra merch, and a few other things. Am I missing anything as far as that goes, John? Okay.
Took us from the stage, not the screen. Just massive shout out to Nephilim Hunter for signing up. You will get everything future for free, so don't even worry about paying
whatever's
the
coming.
Reward for being our first Patreon subscriber.
Yeah, you're a legend, sir. We appreciate it.
Any other tiers that come after, we'll hook you up. See, I think you covered Biblical Hitman. Go check out our Twitter, our new Twitter.
Oh,
Veritas
yeah.
Road
I guess
Pod.
we still need to be talking
We
about
have to plug that
yeah.
every time. Twitter
nuked our old account.
decided to take our old account away.
Yeah.
So we started from scratch. So go give that a follow. Everything else, Instagram, Facebook, is all at the Veritas Road. So go check that out as well.
Yep.
Be dropping a edited release on Friday at about 5 p.m. Our discussion over the weekend over the whole UFO alien phenomenon and all the shit that's actually going on with that.
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, well,
you've been
dying for the past couple of little bit. So go check that out. I thought it was a good discussion.
Yeah.
So
we've got a bunch of new stuff coming too. We've been going over like new segment ideas and a bunch of shit. So
yeah,
a bunch of cool stuff coming that we're very excited about. So, yeah, more to come, folks. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything else, John, we'll catch you next time, folks. Thanks again.
Yep.
Love you guys.
Bye.